The greater good.
Hey everybody, Greater Good Mining here. The day is finally here. We can finally overclock the KS0 Ultra Kaspa Mining Mini Beast. I'm going to show you how to do it start to finish. So the first part is going to be like the physical build that you need to do. I'm going to give you some tips along the way. I'm going to do this as quick as I can just so you kind of like see how to do all of the modifications required. And I'm going to go right now through everything you need. You'll need Arctic MX6 thermal paste. You'll need Arctic TP3 thermal pads. You'll need copper heat sinks. Now, I also have links to all this stuff in the description. They're Amazon affiliate links. If this video is helpful to you, consider using those because it helps out my channel. And it's Prime Day, so you might get a good deal on some of this stuff. The copper heat sinks I'm going to use have thermal tape on the back, but it is recommended you use thermal glue. I have thermal glue in the description as well. I'm just going to try to do this really quick so you can see. The other thing you'll need, I have actually, this is Amazon Prime Day. If you catch this video today or tomorrow, these are 1238s. It's a dual setup with a controller on it. So you can control the fan speeds and everything. So this is the setup I recommend. I'm gonna try with the meter box shroud. You can get a discount on that. I'll leave the link in the description. So anyway, I'll do the, the physical build. I'll show you how to do everything. Then the most important thing is going through the README file, and you need to understand all the instructions because it's different this time. It's a little dangerous if you don't read the instructions this time, because if you try to factory reset it without following the instructions, you can brick your machine. So please read the README file. Understand it thoroughly before you do anything with your KS0 Ultra. I don't want you guys to brick these things. It's serious this time, okay? So read the README file. If you want to download the overclock, it's in my Discord. I have it pinned in the KS0 Ultra section. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into the teardown. Before I take anything apart, and before you take anything apart, understand that if you do this, you are completely voiding your warranty on your KS0 Ultra. You could damage the machine. You could totally toast this thing. So just be careful. And I'm not responsible for anything that you do to your machine. This is me just showing you what I'm doing. One more thing, you will need at least a 230 watt power supply for most of the overclocks. If you want to get your machine up to 618 gigahash, you will need the power supply that I have in the description. That's a 230 watt power supply. It's like 20 volts. There's another option that I have. If you want to overclock it harder, these overclocks can pull up to 280 to 300 watts for the 700 gigahash version. So that's like the, ultimate danger version. It's silicone lottery. You have to have everything just right. So that is like the extreme FAFO version. I'll leave a link for a power supply option that you can use in the description for that one. Anyway, let's go ahead and take this thing apart. We're going to take off the 4 screws on each side of the KS0 Ultra. We're going to remove these side plates completely on both sides, and you will be removing your warranty sticker. Okay, we got the side plates off of each side, and then we're just going to remove the back plate now. So there's 6 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remove those, and then we can pop the plate off. Sometimes it gets a little stuck on there because the thermal pads are up against these metal bars here. So just expect it to be kind of like stuck on there. Just go easy on it when you're prying it off. Okay, we got the screws unscrewed. Let's pop the plate off. It wasn't too bad. It was a little bit stuck on there. Isn't it a shame to take this thing apart? It's brand new. I'm gonna pop these fans off here. See the fans? I'm just gonna pull those plugs right there. And see how much airflow would get blocked by these things internally. So I just unscrew these fans, 4 screws per fan. I unscrew them and then I mount them to the outside. I'll show you. Just unscrew, if you want to do this, unscrew the fans from the front, and then I'll show you how I mount them in a second. Okay, so I took the fan out off the plate, and then I just screw the 2 screws in, going back forward down into the fan. That way this will hold the grill on. And then once you get these screwed down, then from the inside, from the inside of the plate, if you know what I mean, you can just run the screws in going forward and out, and it'll hold the fan to the outside of the case. So don't tighten them too far down, because if you tighten them too tight, the fan can get bound up, and then you'll get an error. But this way you can mount it to the outside. See how the fan is now mounted to the outside, and that will allow for airflow down the middle. See how now it's nice and smooth, and then the other fan that isn't on the outside yet is blocking the airflow. So that's what I do. Anyway, go ahead and do that if you want to, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, the fans are mounted to the outside now. Just make sure you mount the wires so they're aiming in the same direction. That way you can re-plug in the fans. So you can see, like I said, how you've got airflow going straight down the middle now. No fans getting in the way. So the next thing we're gonna do, and I've seen that this can be difficult, we need to remove this hash board. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws. So just be careful, because it seems like the stand-ups, like these little spacers here, it seems like they kind of tend to want to be unscrewed with these. So just be careful when you're removing these screws. It seems like that has been causing problems. So I'm going to remove those screws, and then we will put new thermal paste on the chips. I haven't had too much trouble so far. They are a little bit tight to get started, but like I would just recommend unscrewing them like evenly, you know, like just slowly but surely. That way you're not going to warp the board. They're spring-loaded screws, so just be careful. I'd recommend just kind of like going in some sort of pattern, so you're not like unscrewing one side at a time. Just kind of take your time. Okay, let's take the hash board out. I was hanging out watching RPM's live stream when he took this apart, and he it looked like there was still like the pink thermal paste. So I've seen blue thermal paste on some of the KS0 Pros. I'm just kind of curious what we'll get here. Okay, it's still pink, but when I was at Mining Disrupt, I talked to Ice River. I did an interview. I'll leave a link, or I'll show you on the screen right now, the interview I did with Ice River if you guys want to check it out. They said they changed the style of thermal paste, the type of thermal paste, so it should be better. And so far, I've seen on my KS5L and the KS0 Ultras that the chip temps have been like perfect. I haven't had any trouble. So, you know, granted, this is fresh thermal paste. It should work fine. But with overclocking, we're going to be pushing the machine harder. I definitely would recommend changing it out. I'm going to use the Arctic MX6, like I said. So let's go ahead and clean this off. I'm just going to use like a little paper towel, a little rubbing alcohol, like just to clean up the paste off of the chips, and we'll clean the paste off the heatsink, and then we will repaste with the Arctic MX6. Okay, so there's the chips all cleaned up. All the paste is gone. We're gonna put the Arctic MX6 on there. You don't need a whole lot, just like a tiny little blob. I've been accused repeatedly of putting too much on, but I don't ever seem to have a problem with it. So whatever you guys want to put on for a blob is fine, but I usually try to do like a little less than a pea size on each chip, and it works out fine. It's non-conductive, and you know, it always works out for me. So hit all 12 chips with the Arctic MX6, then we'll slap the hashboard back down onto the KS0 Ultra Casbah Mining Mini Beast. Okay, got the thermal paste on all the chips. Then we're just gonna put it down. Just make sure you line up where your screws need to go. And then, like I said, I recommend tightening them down in a pattern where you're not putting all the pressure on one side, kind of like you're putting the rim back on your car, you know what I mean? Drop it down there, make sure you got all the screw holes lined up, and then put your screws with the springs back in, and just be careful not to tighten them down too hard, you know, get them snug. And then the next thing we'll do is we'll replace the thermal pads. The screws are tightened down. We're just gonna scrape off the thermal pads now, the old ones. I just take a little chunk off of the Arctic TP3 package and just run it down the end of it. And pretty much just a little pull off. And I'm gonna clean this up a little bit too with like a tiny bit of paper towel and alcohol just to get the stuff off, because you can kind of see how it's smushed down there. I mean, it's in good shape, but new stuff will be better. All right, just gonna size up the thermal pads here. Make sure we got the right width. And then we know the length because we took the old ones off. So we'll just cut these to size, slap them on there. Okay, so got the new thermal pads on, and next we're gonna use these copper heat sinks. Now, I have always recommended in the past using thermal glue, not the thermal tape that comes on these copper heat sinks. Today, I'm just gonna use the thermal tape just so I can get this video going for you guys. So don't forget, the link to these is in the description of the video. They're just little tiny copper heat sinks that we're gonna put on the power stages. If you haven't done this before, I'll point out the power stages to you. This is where you wanna put the copper heat sinks. So you would normally put the thermal glue on the back side of the copper heat sinks, right where this little tape is, okay? And then you wanna just push it on there gently, and then you would let it set for whatever the amount of time is that the thermal glue instructs you to do, depending on which thermal glue you use. Like I said, I'll leave a link to the thermal glue that I have used in the past that has worked great in the description of the video. So I'm just going to apply these to the power stages, and then we will put this back together, and we will put the shroud kit on, and then we'll upload the firmware. Okay, so everything is looking good with the copper heat sinks on the power stages. Got my thermal pads on there. We're gonna put the plate back on that has the internal fans mounted to it. So, you know, like I said, just make sure you got the fans pointed in the right direction here. There's where they need to plug in. So we're just gonna put this back together just like we found it, and then we're gonna run the fans down through, kind of like off to the side. Make sure you don't have the fan wires get pinched in on the metal bar here. Make sure you guide them around that, okay? So we'll put this back on, and then after that, we will put the shroud kit on. Okay, if you've watched this far, I'm going to be giving away this Tangent wallet. You can mine Kaspa straight to your Tangent wallet, and I'm gonna be giving this away. You need to, first of all, like the video, and you need to be subscribed to my channel, and you need to put hashtag Tangent and a nice comment about the video in this video. So comment below, like, and subscribe to my channel, put hashtag Tangent, and I will pick a winner about a week from now, and then I will reply to your comment if you won, okay? And don't forget, if you want to buy a Tangent wallet, I have a discount code for that. I'll show it on the screen, and the link's always in the description of the video. So let's go ahead and get the shroud kit mounted to the KS0 Ultra. You're gonna wanna feed your Ethernet cable through, and you're gonna wanna feed your power cable through. I'm gonna use my 240 watt power supply that I've recommended before because I know it works great. And I'll try to do some thermal imaging maybe at some point too. But for now, we're just gonna plug everything in. So feed your barrel connector through one side of the shroud kit, and then feed your Ethernet cable through the other side. I've already mounted my fans to the shroud kit. Let's go ahead and plug these in, plug in the Ethernet. Avoid these wires, obviously. And it just slides right over. It's really, really easy. So I am going to, as far as the airflow goes, there's little arrows on these fans. I'm gonna blow the air in through the barrel plug side to cool the barrel plug connector, because that can get really hot. You might have seen some of my other videos where I do thermal imaging. It shows that barrel plug can get pretty hot when it's overclocked. So I'm gonna blow the air in through the barrel plug side, out the Ethernet side, and that way I know at least I'm getting a little extra cooling on the barrel plug. Okay, so we've got everything plugged in, we've got it fired up, and I've got the fans kind of like set to a minimum right now. So I just wanted to show you the meter box. Right now the ASIC is pulling 96.5 watts, and that's with like the internal fans look like they haven't really started spinning yet. And I've got the dual AC Infinity fans on a separate meter box so we can see how many watts they're pulling. I'll just turn it all the way up so you can see. I'm probably gonna have this turned 100% the whole time. So just let's see how many watts the dual AC Infinity fans take, cranked up all the way. Man, that's moving some air. Yep, that is definitely moving some air. So we're talking about 45 watts for 2 axial 1238s at full blast, cooling the ASIC down. And then now that the KS0 Ultra is ramped up, we're talking about 99 watts. It'll probably be about 100 watts once we turn the internal fans to 100. So these fans aren't even spinning yet. We're gonna turn the internal fans to 100 when we start attempting to overclock. So this is the stock KS0 Ultra. There's the laptop power supply. Now let's get serious. Let's upload some firmware. I'll show you guys how. Okay, so here we are in the stock Ice River Web GUI. We've got terrible hash rate because we are cooled down way too much. This is what happens when you run a stock KS Aero Ultra with Arctic MX6 thermal paste, the Arctic TP3 thermal pads, the internal fans cranked up to 100%, and 2 shroud kits with their fans full blast. These KS Aero Ultras do not like to be cooled down this much, as I've said in previous videos. So hash rate looks terrible right now, but we don't care because we know we need maximum cooling to do maximum overclocks on these. Let's go ahead and check the chip temps. Chip temps in the high 30s, low 40s with all those cooling mods. So big difference in the cooling ability when you slap all these mods on there. Let's go ahead and get these overclocks going, and I'll show you how. Okay, first thing you need to do is download the overclock files. There's a lot of different places you can get them, but if you want to make it super easy, you can join my Discord. I have the overclock files pinned in my KS Aero Ultra section, and I also have the Ice River monitor tool so you can check the chip temps and everything on your KS Aero Ultra and all your other Ice Rivers actually. So join my Discord, check the KS Aero Ultra section out, and go to the pinned messages and they'll be in there. Okay, so then you just click on the file, download the file, and then you will extract the files into a folder, and then you can just go through the README file like I said, and then all the BGZ files will be there. I'll show you what they look like. Okay, now that you've downloaded the new overclock files that you need, you will go to firmware upgrade, firmware file, just click in there, select file, and then these are the overclock files. The README file, which is very important, like I said a bunch of times, read that first and know it well. The first thing you're going to do is upload the init_update.bgz. This one needs to be uploaded first. So let's go ahead and do that. It'll say fake path, don't worry about that, that's fine. Hit update. Okay, operation succeeded. Confirm restarting the machine. Operation succeeded. Okay, so we're gonna let the machine reboot now. Okay, I already uploaded the firmware for the overclock file, but in order to do that, it's the same process. Go to firmware upgrade, click in where you uploaded the init file, select file, and then pick a overclock that you want to try. They recommend starting with the lowest overclock, like this is the low voltage overclock here. Then this is medium voltage overclock, and this is high voltage overclock. So they recommend starting with the lowest overclocks, and the lowest of all would be the L file for low voltage. Then you move to the G file, and then you move to the H file. So I skipped ahead a little bit, but you guys should do whatever you feel comfortable with. I am trying the 600 file because I know I have the cooling, I know I have everything that I need to run the 618 files, and like I said, I don't recommend you do that, but I'm just giving it a shot to see what happens. So start low, work your way up, try to be patient, and I'm not being patient because I've already done this so many times. So I'm just gonna give the 618 GL low voltage file a shot first and see how it goes, and then I can always move up to the medium voltage file and the high voltage file. I'm not touching these ones until I know that it can handle this, and these are like the holy grail, crazy, super modded. You might destroy your machine very quickly with this file. The only other one I might consider, if I have a higher wattage power supply, which I do, is the 676. So I have 4 KS Aero Ultras. I might be willing to risk it just to see if I can get the thing up to 700 gigahash just for fun. But you guys have to be real serious about this and know what you're doing to get these to work, and you have to have good silicone lottery. So I do not recommend even touching these unless you definitely read that README file and know exactly what you're doing. So I'm gonna go with the 618 file to start with. Let's see how it goes. I'm gonna let it run for a little while. So I've got my internal fan set to 100%, and my chip temps are in the 40s, 50s, and actually they might need to be a little bit hotter, but I can't check the power stages, the temps on the power stages with this overclock. So I don't know if I really want to turn the fans down. I'm just gonna have to let them rip because I don't know what the temperature on the power stages is. Anyway, we're getting 500 gigahash, 550 gigahash sometimes. So it's working, but I'm not getting the full hash rate out of the 618 gigahash file. So that's the L version. I might going to go ahead and upload the middle version. Let's do that. So I'm going to go to 618G. That's the medium voltage file. And we'll see if I get any more hash rate out of it. Okay, so the 618G overclock file is working very well for me. I'm getting 626 gigahash per second on a 30-minute average. It's been running for about 50 minutes now. 5 minute 670. It's liking this overclock. So let's check the temps for the intake and exhaust. 36 degrees intake, 59, and then let's go ahead and check the chip temps too. Chip temps are in the 40s and 50s. Chip temp minimum 48, chip temp max 52. It's almost like they're a little too cool, but I don't know what the power stage temps are right now, so like I said before, I don't really want to mess with the fans. I am happy with the results. I mean, even on the monitor tool, it's saying 614 gigahash on the 30-minute average, so I'm getting the anticipated results from the overclock files. Now, I could try to push this further, but I don't want to do that in this video. I'm going to test this more. So there's more to do, more faffling that can be done with these overclocks. And I am hoping that I can get more out of it, but I am very happy with this. I mean, if you guys think about like what a KS1 was capable of, we're talking about 1,000 gigahash at a little over 600 watts, and now we're getting 600 gigahash at 202 watts for the ASIC and about 42 watts. So let's just say about total 245 watts. I'll show on the screen what I'm getting on my meter boxes. I have the meter box on the right set just to the fans, the dual fans that I got going, and then the meter box on the left shows the ASIC with the internal fans at 100%. So 245 watts for 615 gigahash. That to me is pretty sweet. We could push these a little further. I like to do that kind of thing for fun and just to test it in FAFO. You know, you guys know I love the FAFO. But I mean, with the mods that I showed you, which are pretty simple to do, and the shroud kits and a better power supply, this is totally doable. If you're looking to purchase an amazing Caspa mining beast, you can go to iceriver.io, use my discount code GREATER for 2.5% off, and they have hosting ice rivers. You can do a KS5L, KS5M, and they have an 8-cent electric rate. It's a pretty good deal. Then you don't have to pay for import duties, all that stuff. Check it out. And then also you can get a discount code at Crypto Miner Bros. You can get $60 off if you use my discount code GREATER. That is also a good way to go if you want the machine shipped to you. Then you don't have to pay import duties and tariffs. The price on Crypto Miner Bros is the all-in price. So anyway, I hope this video was helpful to you. I am loving the overclocks on the KS0 Ultra. Keep an eye on my channel because I will continue to FAFO with these things and see if I can get more out of them. And I love to do all kinds of extra testing on these things. So subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of that kind of content. Please hit the like button. It helps more than you know. And don't forget to keep it decentralized for the greater good.
The greater good.